The Taliban is infamous for killing health workers. In 2019, it killed 51 health workers and injured another 142, causing the recently disgraced World Health Organization (WHO) to shut down 192 health facilities across the country. However, with the ongoing pandemic knocking on the doors of Afghanistan, the Taliban has realized it needs those health workers on its side. 22 Afghans have tested positive for COVID-19 and the Taliban fears the figures could rise in the coming weeks. Until a few months ago, the Islamic State was calling on its members to travel to Europe for terrorism. With the COVID-19 pandemic already wrecking parts of Europe, the group has backtracked and warned fighters against traveling to Europe. The Islamic State also discouraged members who heeded its earlier calls to travel to Europe from returning. The group was not holding them back so they can perform terror acts when conditions improve. It is just scared that they might bring the virus back home. Most of Hezbollah's topmost commanders are already down with the COVID-19 virus. The infected commanders were exposed to the virus during a meeting with an Iranian government official. Iran finances the group and its officials hold regular meetings with Hezbollah commanders. A few others, including the group's overall leader, Hassan Nasrallah, are in quarantine over concerns that they might have contracted the virus. Hassan also attended the meeting with the Iranian official. He has not been diagnosed with the virus, but the group isn't taking chances. Mahan Air is a passenger airline. However, several countries consider it a terror group because of its close ties to the Iranian government and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC). The airline transports men and equipment of the IRGC. There are also indications that it is financing the group. Mahan Air acted irresponsibly at the beginning of the pandemic. It ignored a government ban on airlines servicing the Iran-China route and continued flying into China. The airline only suspended flights into China in March, 2 months after the ban came into force.
Hamas is the de facto government of the Gaza Strip, a heavily populated region surrounded by Israel and Egypt. The region reported its first COVID-19 infections in March, when 2 men tested positive after returning from a trip to Pakistan. The men traveled to Pakistan to attend a 4-day Islamic program. Thousands of other people also attended the event, despite a Pakistani government ban on large gatherings. In response, Hamas banned all gatherings and closed wedding halls, shops and restaurants within its territory. It also suspended funerals and congregational prayers. Hamas has also been quarantining thousands of people entering Gaza from neighboring territories. While most terrorist groups are taking preventive measures against contracting the COVID-19 virus, white racially motivated violent extremists, a government euphemism for the followers of neo-Nazi James Mason, in the United States are planning to use it as a bioweapon. There is a catch to all this though. The Rms will only go on with their plans if they contract the virus. The Department of Homeland Security discovered their plans after intercepting their messages on messaging app Telegram. Members suggested filling their contaminated saliva in spray bottles and spraying it in non-white areas. They also considered spending time in public areas frequented non-whites. The Turkestan Islamic Party, TIP, is a terror group based in Syria and Afghanistan. It has close ties to Al-Qaeda and hopes to create an Islamic state in mainland China. Most of its members are tribesmen of the Chinese Muslim Uyghur ethnic group. The group released a video at the time the pandemic was ravaging China. The anchor said the virus was God's punishment to China for oppressing Muslims, destroying mosques, burning Qurans and raping Muslim women. The anchor also chided Chinese citizens for eating wild animals. He added that he hoped the virus destroyed China. Somalia is one of the poorest countries in the world. It also has one of the worst healthcare systems. The Johns Hopkins Global Health Security Index ranks the country's healthcare system as 194 out of the 195 countries it reviews. The situation has not improved even with the ongoing pandemic. The government lacks the capacity to test for the virus, and hospitals are turning sick people away because their facilities are inadequate to treat even the most basic health conditions. People are not taking precautions either. Millions of Somalis still live in slums where sanitation is poor and there is no water. Conditions are no better in the cities, where people still shake hands and mingle freely. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, is another terror group active in Palestine. The group organizes weekly protests to show its displeasure at Israel's control of Palestinian lands. Once a year, on March 30th, it holds a larger protest it calls the Great March of Return. However, the group canceled this year's protest because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It advised residents to stay in their homes and observe the protest by flying Palestinian flags and burning Israel's flags. The group added that it would stop traffic for an hour and fill its territory with the sounds of sirens. It also planned to hold a news conference for few attendees. It is weird to imagine that the Islamic State will ever tell anyone to pray against anything. However, it told its members to pray against contracting COVID-19 when the virus first made news in January. The group later issued the travel ban when the pandemic spread to other parts of the world. The Islamic State faulted the Chinese government for hiding details about the virus. It added that the death toll and infection rates were way above the 1,000 and 40,000 claimed by the Chinese government. It also accused China of lying about discharging people cured of the virus. The Islamic State added that the virus was God's punishment to China for its inhumane treatment of Chinese Muslims. However, it warned that the virus would spread out of China and infect innocent people in other countries. It was at this point that it advised its members to pray that the virus never reached their country.